Hi, welcome to Post Scholars, where we enhance learning through innovative methods. You have an opportunity to learn with Post Scholars now. Like, comment, and share.
Hi Scholar, welcome to Post Scholars channel. I want to believe something inspired or triggered you to watch this video. Don't worry, what you seek for you will definitely find it. Stick with me. So the title of this video is Basic Foundations of Geometry, right? Is among a playlist I titled Euclidean Geometry or Geometry precisely. And under this broad topic, basic foundation of geometry, we are going to consider concept of points, lines, plane, ray, and space, right? So we need to understand this. First of all, we need to understand the concept of geometry. Geometry is the study of shapes, sizes, and positions of figures. All concepts in geometry are built upon a few fundamental elements. It simply means before you can talk about geometry, you must talk about points, right? Lines and planes. These three fundamental phenomena are what makes up the concept geometry. So we are going to look at each of these concepts one by one. Now, the first concept is point. I know most of you should be familiar with the word point, right? Especially in mathematics, right? And all of that. So a point is the most basic building block of geometry. It represents a specific location in space, but has no size, dimension, length, or width. Think of it as the tiniest dot you can imagine. So small, it's just an idea of a position. We represent points with a dot and label them with a capital letter, right? In mathematics, you should have seen something like this: points, right? Then you can now say point A, right? Or point B, or point what? Point C. Then what are the properties of point? Zero dimension. What does this simply mean? It simply means your point does not have a length. This point like this, it does not have a length, it does not have a breadth, neither does it have height. It only shows you the position of something. For example, if I draw two lines, right, the vertical and the horizontal. Now, this point now is only telling me the position, right? It's only showing me the position, which is the intersection between the vertical and the horizontal line. So take note of that. Point does not have length, breadth, or height. It's just a location. Now, next, line. Line. What does line simply means, right? Now, a line is a straight path made up of an infinite series of points. It has only one dimension, length, and extend forever in two opposite directions. It has no thickness. Any 2 points can define a unique line. Now, what does that mean? Let's draw it. So, line basically look like this: a straight path. Now, take note, it's infinite. Like the length is actually infinite. So that's why I can just represent it with arrow towards the right hand side and the arrow here towards the what? Left hand side, right? It also connotes 2 points, right? When you join 2 points together, if this is point A and this is point B, when you join it together, right, it has become a what? A line. Now take note, a line has 2 directions, right? Direction towards the right and direction towards the what? Towards the left. Let's check the properties. One dimension extends infinitely in 2 directions, perfectly straight. That's another thing you need to consider. When you are drawing a line, it is perfectly straight, right? This is not a line, right? This is not a line, but this is a line towards the left and what? Towards the right. Then another condition or property is that it can be named by any 2 points on it, e.g. line AB, or by a single lowercase letter. So if you want to represent line in mathematics, you can simply say AB, right? Then you can put this on top. So what this is simply telling you is that it represents what? A line. Then next, we'll move on to plane. Plane. What's a plane? What's a plane? A plane is a perfect flat surface that extends infinitely in all directions. It has 2 dimensions, length and width. Think of an endless tabletop or a boundless wall. A plane can be defined by any 3 points that are not on the same line. Now, let's explain it here. What it's simply saying is that a plane is basically what? A flat surface. So if I draw a rectangle is part of a plane, right? But just that the characteristics of a plane is that it is what is actually infinite in all directions. That means this particular side can extend infinitely, and this particular side too can what? Extend what? Infinitely. Same thing with this side, can extend infinitely. No, the one I drew right now is just actually a small rectangle. So what plane simply means is that it's just a flat surface. Take for example the top of your table. The ground itself, provided it's flat. Once it's flat, it's definitely a what? A plane. So here the properties are two dimension, perfectly flat, and extend infinitely. What does two dimension mean? It means it only has length and what? And breadth. That means your length, which is this, and your breadth, which is this, right? So you can now finish it up. So this is an example of a plane. Then another concept, another property is that it is often named by a single script capital letter, e.g. plane P, or by three non-collinear points, e.g. plane ABC, right? So if, for example, if I draw a triangle now in mathematics, so if I want to explain this plane, if here is A, here is B, and here is C. Once I write ABC, plane ABC, ABC, is simply telling me that this triangle is a what? Is a plane. Is that not so? Why? Because it's actually a flat surface. Good. Then we'll move on to the next one. Ray. What does ray simply means? Is a concept in geometry. A ray is a part of a line. It has one endpoint and extends infinitely in one direction. A good analogy is a ray of sunlight that starts at the sun, which is the endpoint, and travels on forever in one direction. What does that mean? A ray only has one direction. If you remember when I explained line can go in two directions, right? Towards the right and towards the what? Left. But a ray only has one origin. So if I want to represent a ray in mathematics, I'll simply put a point here, right? Then draw an arrow. This is an example of a ray, right? It has one endpoint. The line cannot go towards here, right? If it's going towards here, it can't go towards here, right? It only has one direction. Now let's check the properties of a ray. One endpoint, extend infinitely in one direction, just like the sun. Take for example, if this is our sun, right? This is the sun, and this is somebody, right? The direction of the sun is towards this person, right? The direction of the ray of the sun cannot go towards this side, right? It can only go towards this side, which is what? Just one direction. Then let's check the other property. A ray is always named starting with its endpoint, followed by any other point on the ray. For example, if I want to name this ray, I can say point A and what? B, since it always has one direction. Then the next concept is space. Space. What's a space? A space is the set of all points. It is boundless and has three dimensions. It has length, it has width, and depth. Everything we study in geometry, every point, line, plane, and solid figure exists within a space. Now take note, this space is just like the father of line, ray, point, and those other concepts, right? What does space simply mean? Simply mean a dimension that has both height, it has length, and it has a breadth, right? So if I want to give a typical example of a space, I can draw a box. Yes, a box, right? Then all the points inside this box is called a what? A space. It's actually different from a plane. Look at a plane. A plane is just a flat surface, and the points on the plane are just flat. But in a space, all the points within the length, within the height, within the length, and within the breadth are actually what we call what? Space. Take for example, you sitting in your house is a space, right? You are covering a space, but you standing on the floor represents plane, right? Then let's check the properties. Three dimensions contain all geometric objects infinite. An example include space. We often represent it with a 3D box to help visualize its three dimensions, just like this that I've done. This is an example of a space, while this is an example of a plane, has only a flat surface. Now we have come to the end of this video. I believe you should understand the concept of points, lines, plane, ray, and space, because these are the foundations of geometry. Once you understand this concept, solving problems involving geometry will not be difficult. Thanks. God bless you. Bye.